Hello. Today, as we continue walking with Jesus, we're going to be in Luke chapter 5, verse 36 and following, where Jesus tells a parable about the sewing a patch from the new onto the old, or using an old wineskin to contain the new. And we'll read that, and then we'll talk about some of the things that this may mean for us today as we walk with Jesus. And so, again, this is Luke 5, beginning at verse 36. He also told them a parable. No one tears a piece from a new garment and puts it on an old garment. If he does, he will tear the new, and the piece from the new will not match the old. And no one puts new wine into old wineskins. If he does, the new wine will burst the skins, and it will be spilled, and the skins will be destroyed. But new wine must be put into fresh wineskins. And no one, after drinking old wine, desires new, for he says, the old is good, or the old is good enough. that idea. You know, we have a tendency to like our old ways. We have a tendency to like old things. Have you ever had a pair of tennis shoes or sneakers or whatever you call them that they've become so comfortable, they're like slippers, and you don't want to give them away. It doesn't matter how ratty they get, they're comfortable. Well, once again, this parable is told within the context of what we talked about yesterday, and the Pharisees who were questioning Jesus about his way of doing things, and his way of doing things is different than what they're accustomed to. It's different than what they think it ought to look like. And this last verse, verse 39, and no one after drinking old wine desires new, for he says the old is good. And, that's the problem, is we become accustomed to our old ways of doing things, and sometimes it can be really hard to give those things up. But in essence, Jesus is saying that we do need to give those things up, and we need to move into the newness that he has for us. We need to allow the new to accomplish what the old cannot hold. The new is not to be constrained or confined by the old. And so his way of walking with us and his way of living with us is probably going to cause us to try and do some things differently. As we were thinking about this, I reminded of that passage in 2 Corinthians 5, especially verse 17, but we'll back up to 16. From now on, therefore, we regard no one according to the flesh. Even though we once regarded Christ according to the flesh, we regard him thus no longer. And this means that we're not going to look on the physical, we're not going to look on the material, we're not going to consider it that way. We're going to consider it with new eyes, with a new way of looking at things, a spiritual mindset and a spiritual set of eyes. And then verse 17, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. All this is from God, who through Christ reconciled us to himself and gave us the ministry of reconciliation. That is, in Christ God was reconciling the world to himself, not counting their trespasses against them, and entrusting to us the message of reconciliation. Therefore we are ambassadors for Christ, God making his appeal through us. We implore you, on behalf of Christ, be reconciled to God. For our sake he made him to be sin who knew no sin, so that in him we might become the righteousness of God. Verse 17 again, therefore if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. When we walk with Jesus Christ, he is going to lovingly place his fingers on things in our life and say, this is no longer an appropriate way for you to do things. And you are a new creation destined to do new things. And so you need to let go of that old thing. That's hard. It's tough. We like our old ways of doing things. I think about that even in light of COVID-19 and worship services and what it means and how we meet and how we gather. And we're just really struggling with doing something different, even if it's for the good of all. We're having a hard time figuring all this out. And I just want to encourage you that what God asks us to do, He also enables us to do. So let's keep our eyes on Him. Let's remember the goal that is set before us. Let's understand that we've been entrusted with a great ministry that's not about this world here and now. It's about eternity for all. And that we are ministers, ambassadors of reconciliation to reconcile people to God through Jesus Christ the Son. That we have the tremendous privilege of bringing that. And it's not about their works or about their efforts. You see, that's really what it comes down to, the difference in the old and the new. When we're talking about the old way of the Pharisees or of Jewish life, where it's about the ritual and the law and trying to be good enough on your own, that old has been surpassed by something new. That we are saved by grace through faith, not of works, lest anyone should boast. And that we have been given a great opportunity to be in relationship with God the Father. So walk in that relationship with Jesus today. God bless you.